Hey guys, it's Lady Hawk again. How are you guys today? I know it's been a little bit, but I have this new video for you. I was kind of under the weather, and also I've been researching some pretty cool things that are interesting. And in fact, I will be having another video possibly posted tonight. It's not necessarily a story. This one is more of a kind of get to know you ordeal. Talking about my thoughts and theories about how correction officers are seen these days by the public and kind of throw out a lot of the misconceptions of it. And I'll kind of touch base on that. I'll talk more into it later. I don't want to give too many details. Also, hopefully here soon, I will start doing lives on Twitch. There I will be doing pretty much the same stories, but also on Twitch I'll be doing collaborations, possibly with my sister, which I might be doing a segment on here about what she goes through as a transgender in America, especially with a lot of the crimes going on right now with transgenders. So there's a little bit of different things that I have going on that I am so excited to share with you guys. And we all know that everybody's got their own opinions. So I know some of my stories, some of my experiences, some of what I do discuss is not always going to be, hey, yippee hoo with everybody. But I think it needs to be discussed. I think these are things that need to go out there, and I would love to do them, and I would love to continue doing stuff like that. So especially please message me. State anything that you think needs to be talked about that is going on in society right now, or something that has happened that you see happening. So just let me know. But I am really excited to share those with you guys. But let's go ahead and get into this story that I have for you guys right now. This one is kind of, it's made public a lot, the scenario in this, but it doesn't end well in this one, as you can tell, because I wouldn't be reporting it usually. It's on a couple, Aaron and Eric McLean. Okay, we'll just start with that. So we've all heard those stories on the news of teachers manipulating students into a relationship or doing something inappropriate with them. But like I said, you would never think it would happen to you and your family, and you really don't ever think it could result in a death. Well, that's the case for one couple that were living in Knoxville, Tennessee, Eric and Aaron McLean. So Eric was born in 1975 in Knoxville, Tennessee. He came from a very religious old Baptist family that would describe him as a carefree, outgoing, and always smiling. He also had a passion for music, and him himself was a very talented drummer. He had always dreamed to take his talent and passion and spread it to everybody else. So he wanted to do it mainly with children. So he wanted to be a high school teacher and a band director. Then when Eric was 18, he ended up meeting a very beautiful, free-spirited, nonconformist 18-year-old, Aaron Myers. Now, Aaron loved drama theater and literature and was a very well-known, gifted student. Now, the couple, that's one thing that Eric's parents would later on say that they loved about her, was that she was very smart and admired her intelligence. The couple's love seemed to progress very fast, and shortly after high school, they moved in together and started saving up for a house that they could start a family in. Well, within 2 years of their first date, the couple, Eric, who was 21 at the time, and Aaron, who was 18, found out that they were pregnant with their first child, a little boy named Eric Jr. Soon after the birth of little Eric Jr., the couple got married. Now, Eric was a very supportive husband, and when Aaron wanted to get her master's in English literature, Eric put his dreams of becoming a high school teacher on the back burner and started working multiple jobs, including delivering pizza and driving a taxi, just so Erin could follow her dream. Shortly afterwards, even though money was tight, they had gotten their own house, everything like that, on Coker Avenue. The family would introduce a new little boy named Ian. Now, at this time, Eric was 31 and was studying music and band, while Erin, who was 29, was actually working on another master in education and was going to start her internship as a student teacher assistant at Knoxville West High School. Then, at this time is when things started turning. It was in the fall of 2006. Erin was very, very devoted to her work, and sometimes overly devoted, people would say, and was known by the students at the school as a kindred spirit who understood her students. Now, she was also known for loving attention from male students. Sorry. She would wear tight miniskirts, high heels, and was very touchy-feely with a few students, while she would laugh and have inappropriate conversations with them. Around this time, Erin was asked by the school to look through some student files and look into their backgrounds. I don't really know what this has to do with the facility, but that's what they had asked her to do. That's when she ran across a file of a 17-year-old boy, Sean Powell. In the file, Erin saw that just like her, he had a troubled upbringing. He was put into foster care at a young age due to his mother being an abusive drug addict, prostitute. And she was unable to take care of him, obviously. He would later be adopted by a very loving family. As for Erin, when her parents split when she was younger, she was passed by family member to family member because nobody truly wanted her. I couldn't find out if she had issues or anything like that. I could not find out. But it was just as if nobody wanted to take care of this little girl. So she would say that she could kind of relate to how he felt, and she used this, in my mind, to get closer to Sean. Now, Sean was a very good-looking, popular student that many girls liked, and his friends would even go and say that he was the life of the party, and he was very kind to everyone. Sean also loved to write poetry, and on many accounts, he would read these poems to his teacher, Erin. Soon rumors started going around. The two were flirting with each other. Now, I know how high school is, and it wasn't just the students saying, oh, he's getting extra attention from Miss McLean over there. No, even teachers were catching on. But the thing is no one said a word about it. Sean even admitted to his mom later on that he started liking a new girl. But he left out that it was his teacher. Erin and Sean would go as far as saying that they were each other's soulmates later on. Erin said she understood him and that he could meet her needs and desires since her husband couldn't. Now, Eric was working nights with a band, studying his music, and he wouldn't come home until late. And with Erin working days, the couple never really saw each other. And due to this, Erin started feeling resentment towards Eric because of the lack of attention he was giving her. She started getting angry, frustrated, thinking to herself that they married too young, and because of that, she missed out on the best days of her life. And so it was later on told that she, through Sean, could get a second chance at life. Now, when things started heating up between Erin and Sean, she approached Eric and had asked to have an open marriage. there's your first sign, Eric. But Erin did this because she, of course, wanted to have her cake and eat it too. But she needed Eric for security with the money and needed him to take care of the kids. But she wanted, of course, her young lover too. Eric was not wanting this at all, but he would say that he was so in love with Erin that he didn't want to tell her no and then risk losing her. So he agreed. Now, I know everybody has their own lifestyle. That's how lifestyle. Okay. My personal opinion is I'm a firm believer that if you have an open marriage, you shouldn't even be married. To me, my personal opinion, again, guys, this is just my personal opinion, is that it's a way for both of you to cheat on each other. But like I said, everyone has their own opinion and lifestyles, and if it works for you, that's awesome. My personal opinion, I couldn't do it. But then in November, Sean got into some trouble at school, okay? So when he was caught actually with alcohol on the school grounds and was immediately expelled. At this time, Sean's parents decided to send him to a 28-day rehab center, hoping that he would get help, okay? When this happened, Erin was devastated. And when she found out, she started, texting him constantly. They were texting each other throughout the whole time he was there. And later on, Erin would start begging for Sean to come home to her. After a while, he finally, Sean decided, okay, I need to go home. So he checked himself out of the center and returned home. But when he arrived, his parents refused to let him move back in. So he had to live off the streets for a couple nights. Now, Erin was not going to allow this. She was not going to allow her young lover to be living on the streets. So she approached Eric and told him that she had a poor student that needed help. And since they had Eric's van space where he did for his band and stuff like that, if they could allow the student to stay there. Eric, thinking, oh, my wife is so sweet and caring, he agreed, not knowing any of this. So that's when Sean moved in, and things would change dramatically for everyone involved. Because after Sean moved in, their affair got deeper. And it was like Erin and Sean were living a fantasy with no concern at all. And Eric was just blind to it all. But it wouldn't stay that way. So soon, Eric started noticing that his wife and the student had a chemistry with each other. From there, he started watching a little bit closer. Eric knew Erin was sleeping around, of course, because of the open marriage, but he never would have thought it would have been with a student. Even when his parents would come up to him and say, don't you think it's a little strange that she's spending this time with this student? And he'd be like, oh, she would never do that. She just cares for her students a lot. Okay. Well, one night, Eric had enough. Because as time had gone on, after he had started noticing this chemistry between them, Erin started ignoring her sons and started literally devoting all of her time and devotion to Sean. And during this time, Sean was not remotely shy about this relationship with his old teacher. He would even go and tell his friends about their sex life, and he loved to brag about it. So when Eric had had enough and he couldn't fight his suspicions anymore, when Erin left the house that night, he followed her. Now, Eric followed his wife to the front of his van space. Eric was so mad. He was come over with jealousy. As he went home, was headed home after seeing his wife enter the van with Sean, Eric decided that he was going to confront his wife about the affair. And that night, when she came home, that's exactly what Eric did. But the conversation did not go the way Eric had planned. Immediately, Erin started blaming him. She would say it was his fault for neglecting her needs and that he was just going to have to deal with it. And guys, the crazy thing is, like, most of us would be like, nah, I'm done, and leave. But instead of leaving, Eric stayed. Like I said, I would have packed up my kids and I right then and there and leave. It just blows my mind, like thinking how submissive this man was to his wife because he was so scared to lose her. But that is a show of his devotion and love for his wife and marriage. And he would honestly continue to let her have this relationship with this young boy that was not just illegal, but morally not right. Because remember, Sean is only 17, okay? Just remember that. But Eric stayed, and Sean and Erin went on like, dang, we can get away with anything then because he's a schmuck. That's exactly what was crossing their mind. So they started not even hiding the relationship at all. They even started locking Erin's small sons, Ian and Eric Jr., outside so they could do adult stuff, if you know what I mean. It got so bad that it seemed Erin enjoyed humiliating Eric, and Sean would just become cockier and overly confident to the point on one time Eric had gone out to hang out with some friends. Well, Erin and Sean, her underage lover, went out drinking and ended up running into Erin and his friends. Or Eric and his friends. Sorry, Eric and Erin. It's kind of hard. And looking right at Eric and in front of his friends to humiliate him, Erin grabs Sean and lands a passionate kiss right on him, right in front of Eric. And Eric didn't do nothing. Now, his friends would say some things here and there about her, but Eric didn't do anything. And then to make matters worse, hours later when Eric went home, he would find Erin and Sean. Stop it, they're underneath my table. He would see Erin and Sean in bed together. And without even saying a word, Eric shut the door and walked out to sleep on the couch. Oh, hell no, guys. Like, this man was so beaten down that he didn't even do anything when he actually catches his wife in bed with another person. And on top of it, a 17-year-old. No, that's not going to fly in my book. Sorry. Well, Eric thought he had won because finally Sean turned 18. And when he did, Eric wasted no time to kick him out. So with Sean out of the way, Eric thought maybe, just maybe, he could save his marriage. But it seemed like nothing had changed. And Eric had had enough. Eric started writing a suicide note explaining he took a shotgun from his father and said he had thought about suicide many times. And he would say, I quote, "I have nothing to look forward to." But when it came down to it, thank goodness, Eric was unable to kill himself. Then, the day of the murder, on March 10th, 2007, Eric thought his luck had changed for the better. Erin was all dressed up, got her hair did, her makeup looking stunning, and said, date night. Joy started immediately taking over Eric because there was nothing better than him thinking, oh yes, I get a date night with my wife. Things are getting better. We're starting to get somewhere. But that feeling would last only a matter of seconds. Because that's when Erin informed him it was date night for her and Sean. Now this was the end of it. Eric, he was done. He started yelling at Erin and told her not to come back. And without even skipping a beat, Erin lashed back saying that she was fine with it, that there was nothing there for her anyways. And then right at that moment, Unaware of the situation going on, Sean walks right into the house. He walked in as if it was his own house with no regards of Eric's feelings or anything. That's when Aaron told Sean that they were going to leave and bring the kids with them. At that note, Eric went to go get the shotgun he had recently gotten to end his own life. And before Eric came back to the room with the gun, Sean yelled after him, "In 2 weeks, they'll be calling me Daddy." Like, who does that? And then he started laughing at him. That's when the couple started heading to the car, and while Sean was sitting in Aaron's driver's seat, Eric approached with the gun. Now, if somebody approached me with a gun, I'd be a little frightened, especially in a heated moment like that. But when Sean saw Eric come up to the car with the gun, he showed no fear, guys. Like, he showed no fear and thought it would be even more funny if he went as far as yelling at him that he was going to take that gun and shove it up his where the sun don't shine. That's when Eric saw red, and he shot Sean in the face and then just turned around and walked back inside the house. Now, a neighbor saw Aaron there. She was in shock. She was screaming. And so the neighbor went to console her. That's when the neighbor looked inside the car and saw 18-year-old Sean Powell slumped over with a hole in his head. Aaron did finally calm down and ended up calling 911 and screaming that her husband had shot someone and that the officers needed to hurry. Like, she was in a panic. She was, "Hurry, please hurry. Like, he's dead. My husband shot somebody," like screaming. So when the cops arrived at the scene, it was obvious that Sean was deceased. There was nothing they could do, but they couldn't find Eric anywhere. Finally, after searching, Eric was located walking along some train tracks, and he just looked desperate and in shock, like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" After the arrest of, sorry guys, I gotta sneeze and it's not coming. After the arrest, Sean's parents ended up going through his phone and found thousands of texts proving the relationship between Sean and Aaron. And I don't understand how they didn't catch this before, especially with him now living in her her van, like they're going out with each other. Like, somebody had to have seen them around town or something, and somebody say something to his parents. And obviously they had to know something was going on if he was acting weird already. Like, I don't understand how they didn't catch that. But on January 14th, 2008, Eric would have a week-long trial. Aaron would not be making an appearance at the trial because, according to her divorce lawyer, she was suffering from extreme PTSD from the shooting and was in no shape to take the stand. Understandable. I can see that. So, nothing there. But after hearing all the facts and testaments of the case, the jury would unanimously state that they don't believe Eric shooting Powell was on purpose. So they convicted him for reckless homicide instead of murder. Now, that sentencing would only be 90 days behind bars. But the judge would go on to say that Eric had served part of his time while waiting for the trial, so he would only end up serving 47 days. 47 days for murdering this 18-year-old. Eric would later go on to say that the death of Sean Powell would always haunt him and that he was truly sorry. And I believe he was. It was a heat of a moment, passion kind of love. Erin, she was never charged with anything for Sean's death, but during the investigation process, she ended up packing her and her kids up and left the state. So during a custody hearing during their divorce, Erin did end up serving 90 days for taking the couple's sons out of state without permission. It's actually kind of like a parental kidnapping. Now, guys, you would think that after what happened to Sean, Erin would have learned her lesson about fooling around, and especially fooling around with a student, and especially since she would go on to say later on that Sean was the biggest mistake of her life. She even tried to say that Sean was the manipulative one, and he was very troubled. Yeah, okay, lady, whatever. Because Just 5 months later, officials believed that she was actually involved with another student at a Nashville private school, in which she had tricked them on her resume. Because this was the national news. Like, this murder and this affair made national news. It was everywhere, so everybody knew about it. But I don't understand how they couldn't see her and know it was her, because they would say that on her resume, she ended up going by her maiden name, Mare. So they hired her. But shortly after they figured it out, actually some concerned parents came up and started reporting their concerns about it. She was fired. But Erin would never be charged with any of this again. But I am happy to say, though, that this woman never did teach again. Instead, she's a freelance writer in Texas near Austin. Sadly, though, she does have another teenage boy living with her. But she tries to state that she is just helping him out. Okay, lady, nobody believes that. I'm sorry. I couldn't believe that. I don't trust you further than I can throw you, woman. But, I mean, come on, guys. Who would honestly, believe that anyways? No. I really think there is something messed up in Erin's mind, because she just keeps doing it over and over with no concern or remorse. I don't know, honestly, guys. I do think maybe she needs to get some help. Maybe it's an addiction. I don't know. But she does need some help. But that is Eric, Erin, and Sean. Thank you guys for listening. And like I said, make sure you guys keep an eye out for when I'm going to be going live on Twitch, when I'm going to do the collaborations, and when I will be posting new things on here. All right, guys? So until next time, y'all, I love y'all and stay blessed.